In the bustling harbor city of Lith, where the salty tang of the sea mixed with the fervent energy of merchants and adventurers, our tale unfolds. Raymond, a spirited young adventurer, set foot on the solid ground of Lith with an exuberant shout, his excitement palpable in the air. Raymond proclaimed proudly, "This is the harbor city, it's Lith." Around him, voices clamored with offers and inquiries. "Do you need a place to keep your baggage? Where's my sister? Why don't you buy one of these fishes? If you want to travel Maple World, you need to train first." But Walker, a young man with white hair and a short sword at his side, the presumed leader of their party, interrupted Raymond's jubilation with a questioning tone. "Are you that happy, Raymond?" To which Raymond retorted, "Walker, you're just as happy, aren't you?" Taryn, a man with a green scarf adorning his head, chimed in, "I do want to run around from all the joy too, to be honest. This is where our adventure begins," Taryn declared, setting the tone for the journey ahead. In this era of daring exploits and unknown dangers, adventurers from far and wide forged their destinies, seeking fame and fortune beyond the enigmatic portals that dotted the world. Within these gates lurked monstrous horrors unseen in Maple World, claiming the lives of countless adventurers. Yet, the promise of priceless treasures and unmatched power enticed those who dared to dream. Walker, ever pragmatic, proposed a strategy. "We need a bait. We can't plan anything until we know what's inside the gate. Countless adventurers have died because of unexpected variables. That's why we need a slave to act as bait," he continued, laying out their plan. Charlotte, the lone female member of the group, concurred. "So we need someone to take the attention away from us when we run away." "I agree. That's a good plan," she concluded, her voice resolute. And so, the party sought out a slave merchant to procure their bait, venturing into the dim corridors where the unfortunate were bought and sold. At the sight of two sturdy male slaves, Walker made his decision. "All right, I'll take both." With the deal struck, the party prepared for their inaugural mission. Standing before the looming gate that beckoned with untold mysteries and perils, with a determination etched into his features, Walker instructed, "We'll mark the pillar here to notify the others that we're already in there." As anticipation building in the air, Walker noted, "It seems like no one's gone inside yet. That means we'll be the first." Turning to his comrades, he asked, "You're all ready, right? Let's go." And with resolve in their hearts, the party ventured into the unknown, ready to confront whatever awaited them beyond the gate. And so, they ventured into the gate with hopeful hearts, unaware of the horrors that awaited them within. Passing through the gate's threshold for the first time, Raymond's exuberance gave way to unease as he remarked, "Wag! This feels really strange." Inside the gate, the landscape unfolded in a surreal panorama of towering trees and colossal mushrooms, prompting Raymond to gasp in wonder, "Wow, it's totally different from what I had imagined. I've never been in such a mysterious-looking place before." With steady composure, Walker, the party's leader, reassured them, "There's no need to get all nervous. Let's get moving. Gates are usually formed in locations far from monster habitats, so we should be in the clear for now. We can't use the same gate for leaving. We need to find an exit gate first," he emphasized, outlining their plan. But as they pressed forward, the gate proved to be an unpredictable realm. Suddenly, chaos erupted as Charlotte, trailing behind, fell victim to a monster's ambush, throwing the party into disarray. With alarm in his voice, Walker demanded, "What? Why is there a monster here?" Caught off guard, Raymond could only utter, "Wait, don't tell me all these things here are." Surrounded by menacing creatures, the party sprang into action. Walker, poised to defend, unleashed his abilities, cursing under his breath, "Shit! Fire arrow!" Realizing the urgency of their situation, Walker barked orders, "Something's wrong. Tie the baits to the trees. We need to get out of here." But amidst the chaos, the slaves pleaded for salvation, only to be met with Taryn's harsh command, "Shut up and do as we say." With grim determination, Taryn secured the slaves to the trees, while Walker urged the party to flee. "Now run!" As they made their escape, Walker grimly acknowledged, "This one's a failure. Clearing it isn't important. We need to hurry and find the exit gate." Turning to Raymond, who seemed the most shaken, Walker urged, "Raymond, get it together." With adrenaline coursing through their veins, the party pushed forward, their resolve tested by the horrors of the gate. In the midst of chaos, Taryn's grip tightened on Raymond's collar as he shouted, "He told you to get it together, you bastard. Listen to what Walker's saying." Attempting to calm the frantic atmosphere, Terran continued, "Calm down. We failed this one, but we can always prepare again. So, don't give up and let's focus on the present. We'll all make it out of here." But before their resolve could solidify, tragedy struck. A massive monster emerged, striking Terran down with brutal force, leaving Raymond trembling with shock. "Terran!" he cried out, his voice laced with grief. Behind the monstrous creature, Walker's rage boiled over as he unleashed a furious attack, aiming his arrow with deadly precision. "You piece of shit!" he roared. Yet, to their horror, the monster proved to be more formidable than anticipated. With lightning speed, it seized Walker in its grasp, dragging him toward its gaping maw and devouring him in an instant. Caught in the wake of devastation, Raymond stood frozen, overwhelmed by despair and disbelief, as the once-united party crumbled before his eyes. Alone and wounded, Raymond's survival instincts kicked in as he scrambled to evade the relentless onslaught of the monster. Desperation mingled with pain as he attempted to flee, only to be cruelly tripped, his leg ensnared in the creature's grasp. "Please, no. My leg!" Raymond groaned, feeling the searing agony course through him. With his back against the wall and hope dwindling, Raymond's gaze darted around until it landed on an unexpected sight. A figure perched on a branch, watching silently. It was one of the slaves he had left behind as bait. With a tremble in his voice, Raymond called out, "Bait? Is that you? You're alive. I'm so glad. Hurry. Please help me." As desperation surged within him, Raymond confessed, "All my members are dead. It's just you and I now, right? I'm about really sorry earlier. I didn't mean it." Realizing the urgency of their situation, Raymond implored, "You can't get out of here alone. It's better to have more people. So please." His voice trailed off, a plea for salvation in the face of overwhelming odds. As Raymond's pleas fell on deaf ears, frustration and desperation consumed him. "Help me instead of just watching me. You son of a bitch!" he shouted, his voice choked with anger and fear. With an icy calmness, the slave who had been bait remained unmoved, his silence a haunting echo of their dire situation. Suddenly, he leaped from the tree, landing gracefully on the ground. "Don't know. It seems I'm too late," he remarked, his words carrying an eerie finality. In the blink of an eye, Raymond found himself overwhelmed by the relentless assault of the monster. His body half swallowed by the creature's gaping maw, he could only watch in horror as his fate was sealed. As the jaws of the monster closed around him, Raymond's final curse was aimed at the indifferent slave. "You fucker! You think you can make it out of here? Next up is..." His words were cut short as he was consumed whole by the monstrous beast, swallowed by darkness as his cries faded into silence. Standing firm in the face of impending doom, the slave remained eerily composed as the monstrous creature bore down on him. With a quiet resolve, he spoke with unwavering certainty. "I won't die." Lifting his spear with steady hands, his gaze fixed upon the charging beast. In a swift and decisive motion, the slave thrust his weapon forward, piercing the monster's flesh with precision. As the creature let out a final, guttural cry, it collapsed at his feet, defeated. With the threat vanquished, the slave stood amidst the aftermath, his expression unchanged. But as the life drained from the monster's eyes, a solemn realization washed over him, spoken with a quiet reverence for their sacrifice. He murmured, "Where I died, wasn't here." His voice a whisper carried on the wind. He stood alone amidst the remnants of the battlefield, a solitary figure in the desolate landscape of the gate. Within the confines of the gate, chaos reigned as flying monsters filled the air, their ominous presence casting a shadow over the desolate landscape. On a distant hill, a group of adventurers stood watch, their expressions grave as they observed the unfolding spectacle. Tinged with apprehension, one of the adventurers remarked, "It's coming. The king of dragons, Gornthale." He continued, his gaze fixed on the majestic yet terrifying sight of the three-headed dragon soaring through the sky. A female adventurer standing behind him added her somber thoughts. "I guess the centaur's nest has fallen. There is nothing else we can depend on now. The Cygnus Knights, the Resistance, the Cross Hunters, all the adventurers, and the 6 heroes that the people saw as their ray of hope. They're all dead." Turning to the sole survivor among them, she addressed him with solemnity. "You're the only one remaining, the last Adventurer El-paume." Her words hung heavy in the air, a stark reminder of the dire circumstances they faced. Undeterred by the grim reality before him, El-paume, the leader of the adventurers' party, rallied his comrades with steely determination. "Let's go. It's our last adventure," he declared, his voice resolute as the colossal form of Gornthale, the king of dragons, drew nearer. With resolve in their hearts, the adventurers engaged in a desperate battle against the horde of monsters that assailed them. Swords clashed, spells erupted, and arrows flew as the frenzied skirmish unfolded. But despite their valiant efforts, the outcome was inevitable. One by one, the adventurers fell to the relentless onslaught, their courage no match for the overwhelming might of their adversaries. Only El-paume remained, standing amidst the chaos as the last vestige of hope in a world consumed by darkness. Tattered and bloodied, El-paume's weary gaze fixed upon the sky where Gornthale, the three-headed dragon, soared majestically. Yet, the sight brought no solace, only despair. "Is it over for me?" he murmured, his voice hollow as he watched one of the dragon's severed heads begin to regenerate. "It's regenerating the head I cut off. It was all for naught," El-paume lamented, his words heavy with resignation. As the dragon's wounds healed before his eyes, El-paume felt the weight of defeat settle upon him like a shroud. "This is my end. The world's end. And our adventure too," he whispered, his voice trembling with anguish. With a cry of frustration, he slammed his fist into the ground, his body racked with pain and regret. "Damn it! As if this is how it all ends?" he groaned, his thoughts consumed by the memories of his fallen comrades. Philip, Jaden, Alexis too. Everyone sacrificed themselves. "I can't accept this." Refusing to surrender to despair, El-paume's resolve hardened. "Gornthale, this cannot be how it ends," he roared, his voice echoing with defiance. Summoning the last of his strength, he prepared his final attack, channeling his remaining mana into a spell aimed at the flying dragon. "No matter what, I'm going to bring you down with me," he shouted, determination burning bright in his eyes. But before he could unleash his attack, agony tore through his body, his strength faltering under the weight of the battle's toll. Vomiting blood, he collapsed, his body unable to withstand the strain. In his final moments, as the dragon unleashed its fiery breath upon him, El-paume's defiant spirit remained unbroken, a testament to his unwavering courage in the face of insurmountable odds. As El-paume's life ebbed away, his thoughts echoed with regret and longing. Why did it have to end like this? If only I were more powerful. If I had just one more chance. He lamented, his voice barely a whisper amidst the chaos of battle. With each breath growing weaker, he yearned for the opportunity to rewrite his fate, to turn the tide of the battle in his favor. But as his strength waned and darkness enveloped him, he knew that his time had come, and his final regret would remain forever unfulfilled. The voice of the guard pierced through the fog of his thoughts, filled with contempt and disdain. "Get up, pathetic piece of shit." "As if pretending to be sick would work," the guard bellowed, his words a harsh reminder of El-paume's dire circumstances. Startled by the sudden voice and the splash of water, El-paume jolted awake, gasping for air as the cold liquid shocked him back to consciousness. Blinking away the haze of confusion, he struggled to comprehend the situation, his mind reeling from the abrupt awakening. With a furrowed brow, the guard's disdainful remark washed over El-paume, but he remained unfazed, his mind consumed by a whirlwind of confusion and realization. "You should know your place as a slave," the guard chided, his words dripping with contempt. But El-paume paid the guard's words little heed as he delved into his own thoughts, piecing together the fragments of his shattered memory. What about Gornthale? Wait, am I alive?" he pondered, his mind racing to make sense of his surroundings. Recognition dawned upon him as he surveyed the familiar sights of the slave market. "This place. I know this place. It's the slave market. But if my memory served me right, the slave market was abolished long ago. No way. But this place is definitely," he muttered, struggling to reconcile the present with his memories. El-paume grappled with the revelation. The guard's taunting words fell upon deaf ears as El-paume delved deeper into his memories, his mind racing to piece together the puzzle of his current situation. "He's the merchant that was in charge of me 6 years ago when I was a slave. Then right? He's definitely the same guy," he realized, his thoughts racing with newfound clarity. As the pieces of the puzzle fell into place, El-paume came to a startling realization. "Am I back in the past?" he murmured, his voice barely a whisper amidst the chaos of his thoughts. But before he could fully grasp the implications of his discovery, the guard's anger boiled over, and he lashed out with violence. "What the hell are you glaring at? You little shit!" the guard roared, his fist hurtling toward El-paume's face with menacing intent. Leaning against the grimy walls of the slave market, El-paume found himself lost in a labyrinth of thoughts and disbelief. Am I dreaming right now? No, it's too realistic. I can't believe it, but there's also no other explanation. In the midst of his confusion, A realization dawned upon him with startling clarity. That day, I was brought back to the starting point of all stories. There is no reason to overthink it, and it's all my second chance. He mused, his mind grappling with the surreal nature of his circumstances. With this revelation, El-paume's mind cleared, and a sense of purpose emerged from the chaos. Though his journey had taken an unexpected turn, he was determined to navigate this new reality and uncover the truths that lay hidden within. Back in the present, within the confines of the gate, El-paume found himself amidst the eerie silence of the woodland, brought there by Walker's party as bait. As he traversed the dense foliage, his eyes fell upon a staff lying abandoned on the forest floor. Picking up the staff, El-paume couldn't help but marvel at its craftsmanship. A staff for fire arrow. Not a bad staff, it's perfect for my skill level right now too. But this isn't enough. Otherwise, there is no point in coming back here. An adventurer should have more than just a weapon, he mused, recognizing its potential as he continued his journey through the wilderness. As he pressed forward, his keen eyes spotted a shoe, another remnant of Walker's party. Stooping down, El-paume examined the shoe closely, a sense of anticipation building within him. Right, there are sometimes guys who hide valuables in their shoes, he remarked, his fingers deftly exploring the hidden compartments. To his delight, he discovered a small object nestled within the shoe. A ring. It's the telekinesis ring, he exclaimed, his voice tinged with excitement as he recognized the significance of his find. As the horde of monsters descended upon him with ferocious speed, El-paume's senses sharpened, his mind racing to assess the situation. Did they smell the blood? He speculated, his voice tinged with urgency as he braced himself for the impending onslaught. With lightning reflexes, El-paume met the monster's onslaught head-on, his movements fluid and precise. As the creatures lunged at him with razor-sharp claws and snapping jaws, he remained calm and composed, his focus unwavering. Launching a counterattack, El-paume wielded his staff with practiced skill, blocking the onslaught of blows with expert precision. But to his shock, the force of the monster's assault proved too great, causing his staff to splinter in half under the strain. Stumbling back, El-paume's disbelief quickly turned to determination as he faced the relentless horde before him. With a swift incantation, he channeled his magic into a spell, conjuring a blazing arrow of fire with a flick of his wrist. "Fire arrow!" he exclaimed, his voice ringing out with power as he unleashed the fiery projectile toward the encroaching monsters. With a burst of flames, the arrow soared through the air, homing in on its target with deadly accuracy. With a determined glint in his eye, El-paume seized the opportunity to test out the newfound power of the telekinesis ring. "I'll test out the ring too. I can't keep it up for too long." "Well, I guess that doesn't matter," he muttered, his voice tinged with resolve as he focused his mind on the task at hand. Gesturing with a sweeping motion of his hand, he summoned forth the latent energy within the ring, channeling it into a telekinetic force. With a surge of power, he redirected the fiery arrow with precision, guiding it through the air with a flick of his wrist. The arrow, now under his control, homed in on its targets with unerring accuracy, striking down the monsters one by one as it tore through their ranks. Amidst the throng of monsters, El-paume's resolve remained unbroken, even as he faced a new challenge. "Fire arrow's not working. It doesn't seem to be broken. Is it on cooldown?" With no time to dwell on the issue, El-paume quickly shifted his focus, steeling himself for a different approach. "That leaves me with no choice," he resolved, his mind racing as he prepared to engage the monsters with physical force. With swift kicks and powerful strikes, El-paume unleashed a barrage of attacks upon the encroaching creatures, his movements fueled by a mixture of adrenaline and determination. Yet, even as he fought, a nagging thought lingered in his mind. How much longer? He pondered, his thoughts consumed by the uncertainty of his situation. As he continued to battle against the relentless onslaught, he tried to channel his magic into a potent enchantment. This time, the staff responded to his command, glowing with renewed power as El-paume conjured forth another fire arrow. With a swift motion, he unleashed the fiery projectile, guiding it with his telekinetic ability to decimate the remaining monsters with unerring precision. As the last of the creatures fell beneath the searing flames, El-paume stood amidst the smoldering wreckage. El-paume's attention was drawn to the voice of someone familiar amidst the aftermath. You're no ordinary slave. Spearmanship and magic too? Who are you?" came the incredulous voice of Charlotte, a member of Walker's party. Startled by her presence, El-paume turned towards Charlotte, his expression unreadable as he processed her words. "She was alive? She got lucky. Well, I guess unlucky is the better choice of word," he remarked dryly, his thoughts racing with uncertainty. But Charlotte's interrogation continued, her voice tinged with accusation as she pointed out the staff and the peculiar mark on El-paume's wrist. Why do you have that staff? And that on your wrist? How did you awaken when you're just a slave? She demanded, her tone betraying a mix of disbelief and suspicion. Wait, was this all your scheme? She added, her accusatory tone hanging heavy in the air. With a cold and unyielding expression, El-paume fixed his gaze upon Charlotte, who lay upon the ground before him. Are you done talking? Sorry, but you got it wrong. Not that anything would have been different even if I had planned this. I would have killed you all either way. I absolutely abhor people like you who use slaves as bait. He remarked as he pointed his staff towards Charlotte with the killing intent. As El-paume made his way out from the gate, the people around him couldn't help but react with surprise and disbelief. Look over there, they whispered among themselves, their voices filled with incredulity. Really? Someone exclaimed, their tone tinged with disbelief. No way, another voice chimed in, echoing the sentiments of astonishment. A bait slave came back on his own? The words spread like wildfire through the crowd as they watched El-paume, wearing a slave necklace, stride confidently towards the center of the city. Despite the murmurs of the onlookers, El-paume remained focused on his own thoughts, his resolve unwavering. The dice have already been thrown. Then first, I need to hurry in order to avoid repeating the same fate. I need to free myself, he declared inwardly, his mind set on his next course of action, his determination driving him forward as he set his sights on a towering building ahead. In the office room of the Merchant Union, Abyss, the enigmatic figure in charge, listened intently as his subordinate delivered a report. The slaves returned back alive? He inquired, his voice laced with curiosity. Confirming Abyss's inquiry, the staff continued, Yes, that's the case, Mr. Abyss. Apparently, he returned without a single scratch. It's not unlikely for someone meant to be the bait to return safe and sound. Is it? And all the adventurers accompanying him died inside the dungeon. Abyss's brow furrowed in thought as he processed the information. What? So he's the only one who made it out alive. On top of that, you say he didn't run away and came back here on his own feet. Contemplated the implications of El-paume's unexpected return. People who've been reduced to slaves because of debt will end up as bait again, even if they come back alive. Despite that, he didn't run away. That means he's well aware he can't get out of our hold that easily, because the sole means of escaping is through death. That's the way of the Gaffer Merchant Union, isn't it? Abyss reflected somberly, his words carrying the weight of the union's ruthless practices. With a grim expression, he added, So why do I have to be reported about such a trivial matter? Responding to Abyss's inquiry, the staff continued, There's another event to report besides this. That slave unlocked the first circle. Abyss's shock was palpable as he absorbed this new information, his disbelief evident in his tone. What? The slave who is a bait is now one circle, you say? As he awaited the staff's response, Abyss pondered inwardly, his mind racing with the implications of El-paume's newfound abilities. A slave would harbor negative sentiments towards the Merchant Union, and if things go wrong, his thoughts trailed off, hinting at the potential dangers of underestimating someone who had broken free from their chains. And the staff responded, to add on, he's asked for a change in contract. Hearing that, Abyss responded, A change? The staff quickly replied, It seems he'd like to register as an adventurer. Hearing such a ridiculous report, Abyss remarked, Oh, a lowly slave dares? Looks like he became full of himself and doesn't know his place. Without missing a beat, the staff interjected. Mr. Racken ordered for you to personally look into this matter. At the mention of Racken's name, Abyss's reaction was swift and pronounced. Mr. Racken? He exclaimed, his demeanor suddenly alert. Standing from his seat, Abyss pondered inwardly, his mind racing with possibilities. An executive of the Gaffer Merchant Union is showing interest in a lowly slave for this reason? Is it because of that? No, that can't be it. His thoughts trailed off, leaving him with a sense of unease and intrigue. As the staff finished their report and exited the room, Abyss was left alone, his gaze drawn to the view outside the window. He watched silently as the world beyond unfolded before him, lost in thought. A bait who wants to be an adventurer. He mused aloud, the words hanging heavy in the air. The notion seemed almost absurd, yet there was an undeniable curiosity stirring within him. Under Queen Cygnus, the status of a slave shall not exist. That is but some superficial talk. Humans have always been slaves to money, which we call meso in Maple. If they fail to pay back what they borrow, they make up for it through labor. This notion was created by the Maple world's so-called slaves. As El-paume recalled his past, the memories weighed heavily upon him. The day his father fell ill, plunging their family into debt, marked the beginning of his own descent into servitude. Black moss, the herb that I purchased from the Gaffer Merchant Union on credit. The merchant union set the price for the black moss at multiple times its current price, at 1 million meso, he remembered bitterly. Even in the halls of justice, he found no respite from the shackles of debt. El-paume, the accused, who has failed to pay back the amount of 1 million meso by the due date, is hereby compelled to perform labor equivalent to that amount for the merchant union, the prosecutor had declared. Each memory served as a painful reminder of the injustice he had endured. But rather than succumb to despair, El-paume hardened his resolve. Thus, I was exploited for 6 whole years under the union. Now it's time for revenge, he declared, his voice filled with determination. No longer would he be a pawn in the merchant's game. It was time to break free from the chains of oppression and claim his rightful place in the world. Seated across from Abyss, El-paume wasted no time in introducing himself. My name is El-paume. As he observed the man before him, El-paume noted Abyss's position as Raken's right-hand man, one of the executives of the union. Abby's, was it? The left-hand man of Raken, one of the executives of the union. I've caught a good fish. Abyss, with an annoyed tone, addressed El-paume's request. Right? So you want to modify the contract? I've already received the report about you, so I'll keep it short. Sipping from his cup, Abyss continued. I'll change your contract into one for an F-rank adventurer. El-paume couldn't help but notice Abyss's swift acceptance of his demand. Oh? He accepted my demand way too easily. As I thought, he's being cautious of that. In response to Abyss's offer, El-paume countered, thank you. However, I want rank E. Internally, he strategized, I have no intention of playing along with you at your pace. Abyss was taken aback. What? You want rank E? For you? The Adventurer Association hasn't even assigned you a rank. Quickly justifying his request, El-paume asserted, I've already explored over hundreds of gates in the past 3 years as the baiting slave. Abyss attempted to refute El-paume's argument. That still makes it experience as a bait. You've never caught a monster. But El-paume stood firm. Since when has monster hunting been a virtue for an adventurer? The reason the first adventurer was able to make a name for himself was survival. The virtue of an adventurer is returning alive. Since from information a returnee can play a greater role than individual feats. I admit that's true, Abyss reluctantly agreed. With a grim expression, Abyss continued his remarks, questioning El-paume's abilities. You're certainly right that surviving as a baiting slave for 3 years is no ordinary feat, but that's all it is. You all only enter dungeons ranking low in difficulty. Do you really think that pathetic survival ability of yours will work in higher ranking gates? Lunatic. It seems you take us for idiots who'd offer a risky contract to someone who'll die without even having to pay our money back. He thinks he's all that. He'll die without being able to go far. Although, what is this repulsive feeling I'm getting? Abyss reflected on El-paume's audacity. As he lit his cigarette, Abyss's expression darkened as he made a declaration. There's this one gate. Only 5 can enter, and it has 12 scars. That's right, bones of at least 12 parties are buried there. Prove it. If your worth is what you say it is, I'll do what you want. He extended the contract paper towards El-paume, offering him a chance to demonstrate his worth. And thus, the meeting was concluded, and El-paume found himself back in the woods, ready to prove his worth. Waiting for him in front of the gate was a party led by Chev. Chev greeted El-paume warmly, introducing himself as the party leader. So you're the rookie we're going with? Nice to meet you. My name's Chev. My position's tank. I heard about you from Mr. Abby's. So you were a baiting slave before you became an adventurer, right? El-paume responded with a polite acknowledgement. I hope we can have a nice time working together. Chev, the party leader, seemed unconcerned about El-paume's past. I don't care about stuff like that, so don't worry. The same goes for my comrades. He gestured to the members standing behind him, indicating their solidarity as a team. Chev, curious about El-paume's abilities, inquired, I heard you can use fire magic. Another member of the party, Max, interjected with skepticism. What do you mean? The elemental magic you can use is decided. Chev explained the intricacies of magic use. I heard mages can't use magic of elements other than the one they're born with. So apparently, any item that's unrelated to their element is useless for them. To me, I don't quite understand either. That's a bit complicated. As the conversation wrapped up, Chev refocused the group on their mission. Enough chit-chat. You must have heard it already, but for this mission, the goal isn't hunting monsters. Our goal is to safely retrieve the items left behind by the 12 parties who were annihilated before us. And then we just have to return the items we retrieved to the Union. I heard they're giving 3,000 meso for each item. Max voiced his dissatisfaction with the payment, but Chev shut down the complaints. Stop complaining. Now. Enough of this. Are you all ready? Let's make some money. With that, the party set off towards the gate, ready to embark on their mission. Entering the gate, Chev, the leader of the party, immediately issued a warning to everyone. Everyone, pay attention. There's a high chance of a long battle in this dense forest, so we'll set up a base first. His words conveyed the urgency and importance of establishing a secure position before proceeding further. Chev, what about up in that tree? With all those other trees' branches, hiding and moving will be quite easy, Max proposed. Assessing the tree that Max picked, Chev agreed and remarked, not bad. Okay then, let's go with that. With Max's suggestion and Chev's agreement, the party decided to utilize the tree for their base. Max's assertion that setting up the base was his specialty, along with Tom's, showed his confidence and leadership within the group. Gesturing towards Tom, who stood behind him, he declared, "Paume, you can just rest. Setting up base is mine and that idiot's specialty." With the base established, Chev wasted no time in issuing further instructions. Now that the base is all set up, we'll split into 2 groups and search the surroundings. Tom, Max, and Roa, you 3 are in Group 1, while I and El-paume will be on Team 2. We'll each take the east and west side, scout, and then return. If something happens, quickly send a signal and rush back to the base. You got it? Yes, understood. All the party members replied in unison. With their assignments clear, the party members dispersed to carry out their duties. As they ventured deeper into the dense jungle, Chev couldn't help but express his surprise. How come we haven't come across a single monster yet? We're gonna have to move even further inside tomorrow. Turning his attention to El-paume, the newest member of their party, Chev inquired about his first impressions. That aside, how's your first mission as an adventurer looking? He asked. In response, El-paume admitted, I feel nervous. His honesty reflected the weight of the situation and the uncertainty of what lay ahead in this unfamiliar environment. Hearing that, Chev's attempt to comfort El-paume with his own experiences as an adventurer. Haha, you are right. That's how it is. I've been an adventurer for a long time, yet every time I step inside a gate, I'm nervous about it. I've always been a scaredy cat. But despite that, I can have courage because I've got good people by my side. Praising them myself might sound awkward, but they're really good people. I felt very sorry when I heard about your story. Baiting slave. I can only imagine how hard it must have been. On that topic, El-paume, if it's okay with you, how about joining our... Before Chev could finish his offer to El-paume, he noticed the latter had stopped walking and seemed to be analyzing something intently. Sensing the sudden shift in mood, Chev quickly backtracked. I wasn't being serious about that, so don't worry about it. As they finished their scouting assignment, night descended, and all the party members gathered around a bonfire to enjoy their dinner. As they gathered around the bonfire, enjoying their dinner, Max couldn't resist teasing Chev. That means you have nothing to gain either? He asked with a playful tone. Chev quickly retorted, trying to steer the conversation away from work. You think we'd find them so easily? And can you stop talking about work when we're eating, can you? You can always talk about it tomorrow. As the night grew late and the party settled in to rest, El-paume drifted off to sleep. However, unbeknownst to him, the rest of the party had their own clandestine plans. Chev waved his torch towards the sleeping figure of El-paume. Oi, Paume, are you sleeping? Max, with a mischievous grin, chimed in. Captain, what are you doing? This guy's lost in his dreams. How would he answer you? Geez, stop being scaredy cat, Captain. You're so damn overly cautious. Did you forget what we mixed in his food? He gulped down so much of it. That sleeping herb could even make a mushmom weighing hundreds of kilograms fall asleep. He'd be lucky not to die. By the way, that fire arrow wand, that's at least 10,000 meso. Max's sinister tone and words revealed a treacherous plan. Then let's get working, shall we? Max continued as he readied his weapon, seemingly ready to attack the sleeping El-paume at any moment. And thus, Max quickly stabbed El-paume, who was sleeping under the blanket. But Max's heart pounded as he stared in shock at the wooden log lying beneath the blanket. His mind raced with a whirlwind of confusion and fear as he realized the gravity of the situation. Chev was taken aback by Max's sudden revelation. "What's wrong?" he inquired urgently. Max's response was immediate and filled with alarm. "He's not here," he exclaimed. Chev's shock mirrored Max's as he processed the situation. Realizing the gravity of the situation, he quickly sprang into action, barking orders to his party members. "He couldn't have gotten far. Find him," he commanded urgently, his voice echoing through the night. Right after Chev finished giving his order, the base, perched atop a tree, suddenly erupted in flames. As the flames engulfed the tree that served as their base, panic gripped the party. Roa, the only female member, cried out in alarm, "Fire! What happened? Why is there a fire all of a sudden?" Chev, realizing the gravity of the situation, cursed under his breath. "Damn it! Is this El-paume's doing?" he speculated, his voice filled with frustration and concern. He quickly issued urgent orders to his party members. "Quickly, we have to get the food and items out." But before he could finish his command, Tom, another party member, pointed frantically and interjected, "Boss? What now?" Chev snapped, turning to see what had caught Tom's attention. As Chev's eyes fell upon the towering slime-like creature before them, his heart sank with a mixture of shock and fear, trembling at the sight of the monstrous being. He couldn't contain his frustration and anger. "El-paume, that bastard. Did he use us as bait?" Chev roared, his voice laced with rage and betrayal. With adrenaline coursing through his veins, he leaped from their tree-base camp, leaving their food and items behind in his haste to avoid the looming threat. From his vantage point, El-paume observed the chaos unfolding among his former companions. He remarked, "How lacking. They shouldn't have been so kind if they wanted to trick me. In a gate where over 12 parties that have veteran adventurers fail, they'd welcome a bait like me? It's obvious they were up to something." Turning his attention to the towering monster before him, El-paume couldn't hide his surprise. "I had an inkling that it was that thing from the broken parts, but it's bigger than I thought." As they ran for their lives, Chev's voice rang out amidst the chaos, filled with frustration and urgency. "Damn it! That type is disadvantageous to us. No run for your lives." Tom, running close behind, sought guidance from his captain. "Boss, do you know what that thing is?" Chev's response was swift, his tone grave with concern. "If my guess is right, that thing is a gold slime. It's not something you normally see in Maple World. It's a rare boss monster that only comes out of red gates. That thing's body is acid, so it's the worst matchup possible for melee adventurers like us. And the most dangerous part is..." But before he could finish his explanation, Chev's instincts kicked in, and he shouted, "Dodge!" as they narrowly avoided the acidic projectile hurled their way. Observing the effects of the acid on the ground, Tom's disbelief was palpable. What's with that thing? It has long-range attacks, too?" Chev, still focused on their survival, provided insight into the creature's abilities. "It's acid arrow. It's a skill that lets it shoot out its body's acid." Tom's frustration was evident as he grappled with the situation. "Isn't it just cheating at this point?" he exclaimed, struggling to comprehend the monster's seemingly unfair advantage. Amidst the relentless pursuit of the monster, Chev's voice cut through the chaos with urgency. "Get a hold of yourself. It's coming." Struggling to keep up with the pace, another party member sought guidance. "Boss, how do we deal with that thing? Is there even a way to deal with it?" Chev's response was swift and strategic. "Let's get out of here first. Its acid arrow should have a cooldown of 1 minute. We'll recover and look for a chance. We have to go for the core in that thing's head." With Chev's plan laid out, Max seized the moment and took charge. "Ha! So its skills on cooldown, huh?" With determination in his voice, he turned back and charged towards the monster. "We still have enough time. Just leave it to me." Chev's warning came too late as Max's bold action met a tragic end. "Wait! We have to attack together." His words were drowned out by the piercing sound of Max's body being struck by the acid arrow. Witnessing the horrifying demise of his comrades, Chev's voice trembled as he realized the grim reality. What? There should still be over 10 seconds left on its cooldown. His words were cut short as the acid arrow struck, melting his body into oblivion. Hidden behind a nearby tree, El-paume observed the tragic scene and Chev's last moments. Looks like it's over. Chev, your words weren't wrong. However, a gold slime eats items and grows stronger accordingly. I'm guessing that the cooldown time decreased as it got stronger. That thing's abnormal size and almost non-existent cooldown on acid arrow. Now I know why the parties that came before have all failed. That thing is already out of its class. That thing has grown so much that it could be a fit for a yellow gate, which is 2 levels above a red gate. With a heavy heart, El-paume realized the futility of the mission given by Abyss. It's no longer a monster that a one-circle adventurer can handle. I'm sure there aren't any more items left in this dungeon. Looks like the mission is a failure. He began devising a new strategy to defeat the formidable slime monster. Drawing upon his magical abilities, El-paume aimed carefully and unleashed a fire arrow towards the creature. However, the attack didn't have the desired effect, and the monster remained largely unaffected. Disappointed but undeterred, El-paume pondered. Is it because of its magic resistance? I'm sure I aimed for its core directly. Not bad. Realizing that he needed to adjust his strategy, El-paume calculated his next move. If it's like this, for more shots will... No, I need to hit it at least 5 more times. Resolute in his determination, El-paume remarked with unwavering resolve. Well, not like it matters. I'll just prove it to you. As the monster retaliated with its acid arrow attack, El-paume sprang into action, swiftly dodging the incoming assault. With agility and precision, he leaped from the tree he had been standing on moments before. I have to hit the exact same spot without error. An ordinary mage wouldn't even think of doing such a thing, he remarked, determination shining in his eyes. Drawing a dagger tied with a rope at its end, El-paume swiftly launched it towards a nearby tree. The dagger found its mark, embedding itself securely in the tree trunk, as El-paume deftly caught hold of the rope. Using the momentum from the swinging dagger, El-paume propelled himself forward, gracefully maneuvering through the air as he swung towards the monster with focused intent. With resolve burning within him, El-paume prepared to unleash his attack. As he focused his energy, he declared, "But I'm not your run-of-the-mill mage. One of the titles I held in my previous life is the best telekinetic adventurer." Summoning the power within him, he cast his spell, shouting, "Fire arrow!" The arrow of flame surged forth from his outstretched staff, hurtling towards the monster with unerring accuracy. It struck true, finding its mark amidst the chaos of battle. Seeing the success of his first strike, El-paume remained undeterred. "For more shots!" he declared resolutely as he continued to evade the monster's attacks, swinging deftly around using the rope. Once again, he readied his spell, determination coursing through him. "Fire arrow!" he shouted, unleashing another arrow of fire towards the towering slime monster. With precision honed through experience and determination burning bright, El-paume continued his relentless assault. As he launched each fire arrow, his resolve grew stronger. 3 more, he declared as another arrow found its mark, followed by yet another successful strike. 2 more, he counted, his movements fluid and calculated amidst the chaos of battle. Despite the monster's agility, El-paume remained steadfast. Dodging? It's pretty quick for its size. But it's pointless, he mused, his hand outstretched as he prepared to channel his telekinetic ability once more. Redirecting the trajectory of his next arrow in an instant, he launched his attack with unwavering focus. The arrow struck true, shattering the monster's defenses and revealing its vulnerable core. With determination in his eyes, he declared, "The last one," leaping towards the exposed core, readying himself for his final, decisive strike.